Welcome to Auto Mundial, the weekly car news and review show. This week, we have everything from electric concept cars to Russian 4x4s as we put the charming Lada Niva through its paces in the English countryside.
We also take a look at the updated Volkswagen T-Roc and the fastest Porsche Cayenne yet.
Plus the all-electric Rivian R1T and the beautiful Mercedes Vision EQXX. That's all coming up, but first the news.
Jaguar Land Rover has updated its infotainment systems to include Amazon's Alexa as standard. All models from both Jaguar and Land Rover fitted with the latest Pivi Pro infotainment system will come equipped with a virtual assistant that can be downloaded onto existing systems via an over-the-air update. The new system allows drivers to keep their hands on the wheel while simply speaking to control navigation, phone and media. The first new model to get the technology will be the new Range Rover when it goes on sale this spring.
Believe it or not, the popular Volkswagen T-Roc has been with us since 2017, so naturally it's due a refresh. And now, ready for 2022, it's had one. All three versions of the T-Roc range have been updated, including the sporty R version and the unconventional cabriolet. A game of spot the difference between the new and old T-Roc wouldn't last long, but there are a few new design details to look out for. Although the overall silhouette at the front end is unchanged, the new model gets a smart, more modern grille. As is often the case with midlife facelifts, the headlights are the biggest sign that the car has been updated to an LED matrix setup. Towards the rear, the changes are even more subtle. The lines are sharper and cleaner, giving the 2022 T-Roc a simpler look. Some darker taillights give it a more menacing appearance, while the R model gets a new quad exhaust setup. Step inside and it's a completely different story. The entire dashboard has been replaced, as has the steering wheel, and there's a new digital instrument display. In pride of place on the dash is a tablet-like screen, available in various sizes depending on the trim level. This is connected to the new IQ Drive system, featuring a sophisticated cruise control that will gather speed limit information and adapt the car's speed. A long list of engines could be selected for the new T-Roc, starting with a 110 horsepower 1 litre petrol 3-pot. There's a range of 4-cylinder petrol and diesel engine options, but there will not be a hybrid option according to VW. Just like the previous version, the new model can be had with either front or all-wheel drive. The 7-speed DSG gearbox is an optional extra if a 6-speed manual sounds like too much work. Under the bonnet of the T-Roc R is a 2-litre TSI engine pumping out a nifty 296 brake horsepower. Power is sent to the road via all 4 wheels, while inside it gets some plush body-hugging seats and a so-called sport steering wheel. Volkswagen has yet to announce pricing for the new T-Roc, but it will be landing in showrooms this spring.
Over in America, electric pickup trucks are all the rage. Last year, Ford debuted its F-150 Lightning, while just a few weeks ago, we got our first look at the electric Chevrolet Silverado. But it isn't just the established truck builders getting on the EV bandwagon. This is the 800 horsepower Rivian R1T, a truck that's already garnered plenty of media attention. News of the brand's rollercoaster ride in the stock market may have been making headlines, but it's the product itself that we're more interested in. It's called the R1T, and it's unlike any truck we've ever seen before. From the unique front lighting setup to the beautiful minimalist interior, the Rivian looks fantastic, especially for a commercial vehicle. Unlike the Chevy and the Ford, the Rivian was designed from the ground up as an electric vehicle rather than an ICE truck with some batteries under the bonnet. As a result, the Rivian is engineered differently. Its skateboard chassis may be nothing new, but the way it's incorporated into the unitized body is unique in this class. It's allowed for more clever storage functionality while still retaining its classic truck proportions and silhouette. What's most impressive, though, is the R1T's powertrain. With a motor for each wheel, Rivian claims a 0 to 60 time of 3 seconds and a towing capacity of up to 5 tons. Range, meanwhile, is said to be up to 314 miles if you spec it effectively. Deliveries are set to start this year, and the brand is already busy creating its own charging network across North America. There is an SUV on the way as well, but don't expect to see either of them in Europe anytime soon.
When the Porsche Cayenne first hit the market way back in 2003, it set a new precedent for the way SUVs could drive. It handled almost like a saloon car and went just as fast. Now in its third generation, Porsche has decided to diversify the range with this, the Cayenne Coupe. While the likes of BMW and Audi were quick to expand their SUV lineups, Porsche took its time. But with the success of the BMW X6 and now the Audi Q8, Porsche has created a lower, sleeker version of its popular Cayenne. Starting at the front, it all looks pretty normal. The windscreen is slightly more raked, but it's barely noticeable. It's not until you get further back that you notice any changes. Sticking to the same recipe as rival coupe SUVs, the roofline slopes off towards the back, creating a sportier look at the cost of rear headroom and luggage space. At the back there are some more obvious changes. There's an adaptive spoiler, and the number plate has been moved down from the tailgate to the bumper to create what Porsche calls an optically lower look. It works and emphasises the distinctive light bar. Inside, you'd be hard-pressed to spot any differences from the normal Cayenne. They both get the same dashboard and class-leading infotainment, but it's in the back where you'll notice the changes. The 3-seat bench has been ditched, and instead Porsche has fitted 2 chairs, more in keeping with the coupe's sportier image. To try and solve the headroom issue, the rear seats are mounted 30mm lower than in the normal car, but taller passengers will still suffer. It's available with all the same powertrain options as the regular Cayenne, meaning there are some very quick versions to choose from. And now, Porsche has created a brand new one, quite possibly the fastest SUV we've ever seen. It's called the Turbo GT, and the numbers boggle the mind. Its 4-litre V8 produces 631 brake horsepower, 89 more than the standard turbo. The top speed is increased to 186, and the acceleration is mind-blowing. This is a big 2.3-ton SUV, and it can do 0 to 62 in 3.1 seconds. Porsche was clearly fed up of Lamborghini and Bentley stealing its thunder as makers of fast 4x4s. It hasn't gone over the top with the add-ons though. The body kit is slightly different, as are the wheels, but otherwise it's hard to tell that this is the fastest Cayenne ever built. It is lower though, and the chassis has been fine-tuned to provide almost sports car-like handling. It's an incredible achievement, but is it the one to go for?
There aren't many, if any, SUVs that can keep up with the Cayenne, but this, the BMW X6M competition, isn't far off. Like the Porsche, it's a coupe version of an existing car, but it's still absolutely massive. It's powered by a 625 brake horsepower V8, which is good enough for 750 Nm of torque and 0 to 60 in 3.8 seconds. Equipped with 2 twin scroll turbochargers, this is the most powerful engine BMW has ever put in a road car. This behemoth of an engine is connected to the 8-speed driving all 4 wheels. On the starting front there is the familiar BMW kidney grille and dual vertical bars which are specific to M variants. At the bottom there is a huge frontal cooling area to keep the power plant from bursting through the bonnet. The M-specific 21-inch wheels sit in front of some enormous new brakes, and the side profile features special vents and M door mirrors, while at the back there's a spoiler and some naughty exhausts. Inside there's plenty of carbon fibre on the centre console and the dash, and lots of reminders that you're in an M car.
It's the Porsche though that wins this battle. The BMW is very fast, but nothing can match the Cayenne. Electric SUVs may eventually go quicker, but for now, the Cayenne Turbo GT is the ultimate performance 4x4.
After the break, Mercedes' latest concept, and we get muddy in a Lada Niva.
Coming up, a brand new classic car. But first,
manufacturers are constantly on the lookout for ways to increase the range of their EV models. To that end, we've seen countless electric concept cars, each with their own ideas and philosophies. Now though, it's Mercedes' turn with this, the Vision EQXX. Though the model, drawn up by the most creative bunch within Stuttgart, is not set to break any lap record times with a mere 201 horsepower, the lengths the team has gone to in order to extend the car's range are astounding. In fact, Mercedes reckons the EQXX will hit the magical figure of 1,000 kilometers on a single charge, or around 620 miles. Thanks to the perfectly sculpted shape of the Mercedes EQS, the German brand already holds the joint record for the most aerodynamic production vehicle. With the Vision EQXX, that design has been pushed even further to reach a drag coefficient of just 0.17. In layman's terms, it's very slippery indeed. Fitted to the sleek aerodynamic curves is a set of thin solar cells. There are 117 of them in total, which helps to boost the range of Mercedes' new creation a further 15 miles. Though not much compared to the headline figure, it's not to be grumbled at, and every mile counts in the EV range stakes. As well as cutting through the air like a knife through butter, the concept has a drivetrain created by the team behind the Mercedes F1 engines. Thanks to technology brought straight from the top level of motorsport, 95% of the energy stored in the EQXX's battery is sent through the wheels into the road. In comparison, a car using a traditional internal combustion engine will only transform 30% of the energy in its fuel-to-wheel rotation. As well as its drive for efficiency, Mercedes has spent a lot of time on making the Vision EQXX as sustainable as possible. The interior of the car is made from various natural materials, including vegan silk and leather derived from bamboo, cactus and even mushrooms. A huge 47.5-inch 8K display covers the dashboard and features an avatar that apparently allows the car to communicate with its occupants. Though it's very unlikely that the concept itself will ever reach production, it does pave the way for an all-electric replacement for the current CLS. Furthermore, much of the technology seen on board will trickle its way into the rest of the Mercedes lineup of luxury models.
In the past few years, we've seen a flurry of new 4x4s hit the market. Mercedes released a redesigned G-Wagen, Land Rover gave us the new Defender, and Ford even resurrected the Bronco. But with their big engines, leather-clad cabins, and terrain response systems, they've left us wondering if we really need all that decadence. In the olden days, you could get an off-roader that was just that, and it turns out you still can. This, comrades, is the Lada Niva. And no, you haven't accidentally tuned into one of those classic car restoration shows. This one is brand new. That's right, more than 40 years since its debut, the iconic Russian relic is still going strong. First unveiled as the Soviet Union's answer to the Land Rover in 1977, the Neva was built to provide affordable, reliable, go-anywhere ability to even the remotest parts of Siberia and beyond. It should have no trouble here then in the undulating British countryside, but does it really make sense in the UK in 2022? Well, while the Neva has been subject to frequent fettling and updates throughout its lifespan, the current one looks just about identical to the 1970s original. The bodywork is unaltered right down to the classic circular headlights. The solid steel bumpers remain too, giving it a sense of rugged dependability. The interior is a bit closer to the 21st century, but not by much. It's here, though, where you find subtle glimmers of bourgeois Western decadence, with its heated seats, electric windows, and even air conditioning in this mid-range luxe model. The dashboard is a wiped-down smorgasbord of scratchy plastic, old Renault switchgear, and metal stalks that are no doubt identical to those of the 70s original. The ergonomics are a bit skewiff in places. Shifting into fifth gear requires a real stretch, the pedals are tiny, and the boot release handle in the back is rather odd. Altogether though, if you can do without infotainment and massage seats, it is perfectly fine, and not a world away from Dacia Dusters and Suzuki Jimneys. Under the bonnet is a refreshingly modern 1.7 petrol engine producing 82 brake horsepower. No, it isn't fast. 0 to 62 takes 17 seconds, but it is ULEZ compliant and meets Euro 5 emission standards. It's fairly refined too, although straying much above 60 miles per hour on a motorway can get a little noisy.
It's off the road then where the Neva is most at home. It's narrow and light, meaning it can fit through gaps that Land Cruisers and Range Rovers daren't attempt, while the impressive ground clearance, excellent approach angles and decent wading ability mean you can take it just about anywhere. Drive is permanently sent to all four wheels, and there are some chunky levers that operate the low-range gearbox and differential locks, meaning you'll do well to get it stuck. There's even a factory-fitted skid plate underneath and independent suspension all round, unlike the leaf springs you used to get on 70s Land Rovers. As a farm vehicle then, it's ideal. There's even a van version available and a long wheelbase 5-door. The big surprise though comes when you venture into town. Driving an old Defender through a city centre is akin to wearing wellies on a night out. You look out of place and you soon get uncomfortable. The Lada though feels right at home. The power steering is light if a touch vague. It's as small as a hatchback though, so it's easy to park, and the thin pillars and high driving position mean visibility is unmatched, even though the steering wheel is on the wrong side. It looks good too, especially here in Luxe trim with its metallic paint and alloy wheels.
The Lada Niva then isn't without its foibles, but its sheer ability and charisma mean they are easy to forgive. Its closest rival is the Suzuki Jimny, another small 4x4 that we're big fans of. The Neva is priced from £19,595 on the road, similar to a commercial Jimny if you finally get to the front of the never-ending waiting list. The Lada though? Well, the independent UK importer can get one on your driveway in a couple of months. So then, to answer our question, does the Neva make sense here in 2022? It seems the answer is yes.
Join us again next week on Auto Mundial as we get behind the wheel of Kia's all-new Sportage.